Ribbit. Hello, everybody. Tonight is Thursday night's homework. So, you will have a quiz on Friday on 4 proofs. So, if you would like to study those, let me just look at my book for a real quick second. The proofs are going to be like the ones on page. Sorry. Where are all those proofs? Pages 44 and 45. You are going to have a quiz on Friday on 4 proofs. So you need to study those proofs on those pages. Okay? Today we are going to just put notes in our notebooks. That's all you are responsible for this video, Thursday night's homework, because you need to study for that quiz. So, page 60. It's called Properties of Parallel Lines. Woo! Properties of Parallel Lines. Postulate 10 we know we're going to take without proof. If two parallel lines, and the key thing is we're talking about parallel lines. The other day, Joy asked me a question about if two lines were cut by a transversal, are corresponding angles going to be congruent? And the answer is no, except if they are parallel lines, because that makes a difference. So if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then corresponding angles are congruent. So in this case, x and y are parallel. In that case, this is your transversal. 1 and 3 are going to be congruent. 2 and 4 are going to be congruent. 5 and 7 are going to be congruent. And 6 and 8 are going to be congruent. The only way that is if x and y are parallel. If they are not given as parallel, you cannot make that assumption, even if it looks like it is. Theorem 2-2. Whoops, I lost my froggy. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then alternate interior angles are congruent. Remember that interior is on the interior of the two lines. This is your transversal. So 1 and 3 would be congruent with each other. 4 and 2 would be congruent with each other, according to Theorem 2-2. I want you to memorize these theorems. You don't have to do it tonight because you have a quiz tomorrow, and I'd rather you study for that. But over here, I did prove Theorem 2-2. You have your picture up here. It says given K is parallel to M, so the two lines K and M are parallel. T is a transversal and cuts K and M. So if T is this line right here and it's the transversal, we have to prove that 1 is congruent to 2, and that's going to be Theorem 2-2 that we prove. So in statement 1, oops, I didn't spell statement right. I wrote statements, but it should say statements. K is parallel to M and T is a transversal, and that's given. Okay, 2. 1 is congruent to 3. If you look at 1 and 3, you should see that 1 and 3 are vertical angles. We know that 1 and 3 are vertical angles are congruent. So the reason for that is vertical angles are congruent. Statement 3 says 3 is congruent to 2. If you look at 3 and 2, we just said by postulate 10 over there, if two lines are cut by a transversal, then corresponding angles are congruent. 3 and 2 are corresponding angles. So those are congruent. Therefore, by the transitive property, if 1 is congruent to 3, 3 is congruent to 2, then transitive property, you have the same angle in the middle here, then 1 is congruent to 2 by the transitive property. We just proved Theorem 2-2. You know that theorems are things that can be proved, where postulates are things that are accepted without proof. Okay. Over here, Theorem 2-3. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then same side interior angles are supplementary. I'm not going to prove this one. It is, I think there's an exercise in the book that you can actually prove this. They ask you to prove this one. I'm not going to prove it. I want you to take this for proof. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, here's your transversal, then same side interior angles are supplementary. So that means these two are parallel, O and P are parallel, 2 and 3 are same side interior, and if you add 2 and 3 together, you're going to get 180 because 2 and 3 added together are supplementary. 5 and 4 also are alternate interior same side interior angles. Those two are going to be added together to get 180. Keyword is froggy slipper. Okay. Over here, theorem 2-4. If a transversal is perpendicular to one of two parallel lines, then it is perpendicular to the other one also. Okay, this is pretty simple. If J and K are parallel, and this line is perpendicular up here, clearly it's going to be perpendicular right here. Okay, corresponding angles are congruent. If that's 90, that's going to be 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 90. Okay, these have to be parallel for that to be the case. Okay, example 1, find the measure of angle PQR. Now, in your book it says that we are no longer going to be using the ends of lines with the little arrow on it. I'll show you up here. They said, you know what, you've been doing geometry long enough. You don't need to know that that's a line. We're just going to take it for granted that these segments are parts of lines. Okay, so instead they're going to use these arrows to tell you that these two things are parallel. So find the measure of PQR. Well, this tells us by this diagram that QP is parallel to RS. If those two are parallel, and then they said QR is by this picture, QR is a transversal and it's 90 degrees. Well, if we know that this is 90 degrees and same side interior angles are supplementary, then we're also going to know that that's 90 degrees. So the measure of PQR equals 90 degrees. Okay, find the values of X and Y. So this diagram, by these two lines right here, those tell you that D and C, this is C and this is D, are parallel. A and B are also parallel with each other. This is a transversal, this is a transversal, and then if you go with these parallel lines, these are also transversals. Okay, by the theorem that we just learned, corresponding angles are congruent. So if 2x and 60 are congruent, then we can say 2x equals 60, then x equals 30, okay? Because these are parallel. Now C also is parallel to D, and we know that same side interior angles are supplementary. So 60 plus y equals 180 because these two are going to be supplementary. All right, so 60 plus y equals 180. Subtract 60 on both sides and you get y equals 120. All right, that's it for now. You do not have to do the classroom exercises yet. That will be tomorrow's lesson. All right, have a great night and I will talk to you tomorrow.